Yo, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a new rumor of a February 2019 Nintendo Direct that's supposedly supposed to be going down on February 13th, or I'm recording this on February 8th, so next week. And this rumor comes from a guy named King Zell on Reset Era, and he has suggested that this date, February 13th, is the day that we are going to see a Nintendo Direct, and there could be some interesting things announced at that Direct. Obviously, it's been a while since our last one, so we're going to go over all the possibilities. We're going to go over King Zell's track record, and of course some information that I have gathered first before making this video. So let's go over what King Zell has gotten right before, if some of you guys are wondering, well, who is this guy and what has he done? So he did tease The World Ends With You Final Remix before it was announced. He also provided accurate information about last year's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee event. He also hinted at Animal Crossing being announced during the last year's September Nintendo Direct, and that definitely happened as well. King Zell also knew about the indie presentation last month, several days before the indie highlights video was published. So he's definitely gotten some things right. Now, that's not to say that he's gotten everything right. I don't know his complete track record, but the guy has gotten a lot of things right recently when it comes to Nintendo Switch rumors and what Nintendo's going to do. So it's enough for someone to make a video, and there's been multiple different articles that have been brought up from various sites that have sourced him for this rumor out there. So let's go ahead and talk about this. He does state that there should be Metroid Prime trilogy as well. So there's also some other rumors that include Pikmin 3, Super Mario Maker 2, some sort of Box Boy, plus the latest 2D Zelda and Pokemon entries, in addition to third-party games on the way and better third-party Japanese support to be in particular, possibly with ports. Now, these are all rumors being suggested on there. This is what we could be seeing suggested by King Zell and what was going on Reset Era. Now let's go and let's shift over to what I think about this, because I do have something to say and add on. So here's what I've heard. Now, I have not heard about a Nintendo Direct next week. I don't have any sources on that. I've gotten some hints that there could be February Direct, but everybody told me like, hey, you know, there was supposed to be one in January and that didn't happen. I had multiple sources tell me that, so it would make sense if Nintendo did move that over to the next month. But next week, I haven't heard any particular pinpoint date, but I did hear, yes, February Direct is going to happen. There is going to be something, but just not that exact date. Now, when it comes to some of the stuff that he's saying here, I'm not going to say which games out of what he said that I've heard, but I've definitely heard some of the stuff that was listed off of here. Based on what's listed off here, I have heard a little bit of that, and it would make sense if some of these games came over. Now, when it comes to Japanese support and more of that, that's definitely going to be happening. I've heard of multiple different games, and even with Monster Hunter potentially being a game that we could be seeing being announced for the Nintendo Switch, and we're not talking about a port of a different game or anything like that, but an actual brand new Monster Hunter. Now, if that's going to be announced at this event, I'm not really sure. Capcom does like to announce Monster Hunter games at separate type of events. I know they announced like Monster Hunter Double Cross. That was not at a Nintendo Direct, and that was at one of their own events. But then again, Monster Hunter World, that was announced at Sony's E3 conference. So I do feel that Monster Hunter could be a game that is announced at this Nintendo Direct, or it could be a game that we get an announcement later. But I have heard that there is a new Monster Hunter that is going to be developed for the Nintendo Switch that is not a port. It's a new Monster Hunter game developed specifically for the Nintendo Switch, and this is something that shouldn't come as too much of a shock, considering that Capcom did state that they are going to put a Monster Hunter on Switch, like a Monster Hunter for the system, not necessarily a port of a 3DS game or something like that. And I don't think it's going to be like a Monster Hunter World. Some people are saying, oh, well, maybe they port over that game. I don't think it's going to be that either. I think it would be a Monster Hunter game made for the system. And I just did want to state briefly that Capcom did state that Monster Hunter Double Cross and also Monster Hunter on the Switch, that is combined to sell 3 million units combined. So the Switch version is well over 1 million units on that one. I think they said 1.2 million units plus, so pretty good when it comes to that. So I would think that there's definitely a future for Monster Hunter on a Nintendo platform. Now, when it comes to the actual Nintendo Direct and kind of what's going down, what we could expect, I think Metroid Prime Trilogy, I feel that that's probably the biggest lock out of anything here, out of all of these rumors. Metroid Prime Trilogy has to be the game that I feel that Nintendo would show off if there is a Nintendo Direct, or hypothetically speaking here. Remember, this is a rumor. I feel that this would definitely be the game that they did show off at this one here. But I want to talk about other things that he kind of says out there. So Super Mario Maker 2, that would be a huge title for Nintendo to put out there, because it wouldn't necessarily be a port, right? It would be an actual sequel to the game. They could improve upon so many different things, and I think that it makes sense if Super Mario Maker 2 did come out. I think that it would make sense because they released the 2D Mario earlier in the year. They followed that up with Super Mario Maker 2, and I felt that this was the natural type of thing that they should go in. Like, that is the evolution, I guess, of 2D Mario, what Nintendo's going to do, because I don't feel there's as much that you can do with 2D Mario as other people like to make it believe. I feel that if Nintendo just gave a ton of different tools, people can make all sorts of cool 2D Mario levels, and Nintendo can actually put in their own 2D Mario levels as well, like they did like with the Nintendo World Championship levels. They can put those in there and people can continue to create. They just need to make sure that they put more tools like the slopes and other stuff like that, to where people can create different types of levels and more of a variety in the game. So I think Super Mario Maker 2 would be dope, and that would move a lot of Nintendo Switch units, especially if they do some type of bundles and things like that. When it comes to Pikmin 3, I mean, it seems like that might be something that Nintendo would do. We did get some rumors about a potential 2013 title that would be coming from Nintendo. That's a Wii U port. Pikmin 3 could easily be one of those. I speculated that, hey, maybe Pikmin 3 is that title, along with Super Mario 3D World or The Wonderful 101. Looking at how Nintendo's talked about Pikmin 4, it does seem like they might want to get Pikmin 3 out on the Switch, so that's always a possibility with that, but we'll have to wait and see. When it comes to some of the other things, like a new Box Boy, that's something that I'm not really familiar with, so I don't know about that. A latest 2D Zelda, so is that like the over-the-top Zelda, or is that like 2D as in like Legend of Zelda 2? So when people say 2D Zelda, I think they mean like the over-the-head view of Zelda, like A Link Between Worlds and stuff like that. So that would be really cool. There was a rumor out there that Nintendo wanted to have a Zelda game pretty much every single year, and it's been a while since we've gotten one of those over-the-head or old-school style Zelda games, and I'd be completely down if they did something like that. Now, it's not necessarily my favorite. I like the Breath of the Wild style type of Zelda, or Wind Waker HD. Those are my favorite Zelda games, but I bought A Link Between Worlds, and I'd be down to play some type of new 2D Zelda game if that did come out. In terms of Pokemon, that'd be great. Obviously, we all want to see the next big and latest and great Pokemon game, so I'd be down for whatever they show us, but that'd be interesting if they showed it at this Nintendo Direct and not its own event, because that's usually what the Pokemon company does, kind of show off at their own events, their Pokemon Directs, which we've had before. But hey, maybe they're doing something different this year. This year is already different when it comes to Nintendo not having one of the bigger Nintendo Directs in January, or at least a mini. So it's been a while, but we'll have to wait and see, guys. This is the longest that we've been, like I stated before, without a normal Nintendo Direct. We did get one in November, but that was a Super Smash Bros. Direct and not necessarily a straight up Nintendo Direct. And kind of a final note, I do think that this Nintendo Direct could be the biggest Direct that we've had in terms of titles for a while, because it's just been so long since we've had our last one. So maybe Nintendo did take that extra time and effort and care, or whatever the case is, to make sure that this Direct was packed full of games. And maybe that's the reason why some of the games like the Final Fantasy and stuff that we talked about were announced early, because there's just so much stuff in this next Direct that they really just needed to get some of the announcements out of the way and didn't want to overload it too much. But I do feel that whenever this next Direct does come, because remember, guys, we're speaking hypothetically, it is rumor, but whenever there is the next Direct, I do feel that it's going to be packed with so many different titles, just because it's been so long since we've had our last Direct, and just kind of how everything's been playing out with this year so far with some of the announcements that we've gotten. It does seem like we're poised for a pretty big Nintendo Direct coming up. So what do you guys think about all the different rumors and topics that we discussed here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet, and it's just YouTube Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the for the next video. Peace.